Welcome back to my Real Moments. I'm Ron McCoy, host of this daily, I guess you would call it a vlog. I've had two cats until recently. I had them for 17 years. One of them passed away on July 4th. I want to say rather suddenly. However, when I took him to the vet on May 22nd, I was told that he had lost 2 pounds in a year, which is a lot for a cat to lose. He had gone from 12 pounds to 10 pounds. And technically he is a 10-pound cat, or was a 10-pound cat, but that great a loss was too much for a cat. And I was told that there was no physical reason for him to be losing that weight, that I should start feeding him wet cat food mixed with dry cat food so that he eats more, even though he was eating a lot anyway. And I did buy some little cans of kidney-friendly cat food, and he ate that up very well, went back to his dry cat food. I bought a scale so I could keep track of how much he was gaining. Hopefully he didn't gain any. He stayed at 10 pounds. And then he got backed up, couldn't go to the bathroom. And I noticed he was licking his posterior constantly, so I took him to the vet. That was on June 24th. They extricated what was clogging his system, but when he came home and thereafter, he just wasn't the same cat. He kept trying to hide, and I've learned from the internet that when a cat starts hiding, that cat knows something like he's going to be dying soon. I syringe fed my cat. His name is Domino, was Domino, and I tried everything I knew how to do. Bought salmon because I knew he would love salmon. Gobbled up the salmon that I gave him, and like a day and a half later, he crawled behind the couch. And while he was back there, and he was always really great about using the litter box, but when he was back there, he urinated and he was meowing. He was never a cat that meowed. When he did meow, nothing came out, but when he was meowing in that situation, you could hear him, and I knew the end was near. And by the next morning, that was the morning of July 4th, I found him on the floor, stretched out, stiff, and I knew that was the end. And I placed him in a pillowcase, wrapped him up all nicely. I dug a grave for him in the backyard. That's probably against the law, but I didn't want him just lying around the house. And ultimately, I had to cover his grave in concrete because something dug him up and dragged the pillowcase down across the neighbor's yard. I noticed there was a vulture or something. I guess not vulture. It looked like a chicken hawk or something. It looked like a buzzard of some kind, actually, was down there. Awfully curious about something, and lo and behold, I went down there, and there he was. So I dug the grave deeper, covered it in concrete so nothing could dig him up, and something was trying in the interim, and so he is safe and sound. He has a brother named Blackjack, who I was surprised didn't even seem to notice that Domino had died, although more recently Blackjack has come to the conclusion that his brother isn't going to be around anymore. Every once in a while he meows like he used to get his brother's attention, but otherwise he seems just fine. It's been hard when you're used to having 2 cats and now you're down to 1 cat, even though cleaning the litter box is a whole lot easier and there's much less litter strewn around the house. I do miss my Domino. I do miss teaching, but I don't have a whole lot of time to ruminate on it during the day because I'm working at Ross Dress for Less. And some of the aggravations that I experience at Ross parallel those aggravations that I was experiencing when I was a teacher, such as people who don't want to work. I work with this woman, she's 26, and toward the end of our shift, I am supposed to be off after like 5 hours. I get there at 5:45 a.m. and I'm supposed to work maybe 5 hours per day, but no one tells me to go home usually, and I stay until all of the work is done with regard to the stockroom. And this woman that works back there, this 26-year-old, she sticks around. She does. I mean, I think it's because of the tone that I'm setting that we've got to get this done and everything has to be ready for the next day. She sticks with it, and I gave her the choice of running a Hummer, a rolling cart filled with shoes, or taking the trash that was left over from the shoes back to the area where all of it is where it is all compressed. It's like a trash compactor. And she says to me when I say, well, would you like to run these shoes? She goes, no, I'm not in the mood to run the shoes. She sounds like a fifth grader. My response was, well, I'm not in the mood to run the shoes either, but we need to get them done, so I'll run them. And I had a little bit of a tone to my voice, and when I came back in afterwards, I had lightened considerably. It's just that kind of a thing, not really truly dedicated to doing the work at hand. Yes, I know working at Ross Dress for Less is not like being a teacher in the sense of how lofty a position it is. It's not like being president of a bank or anything like that. It doesn't require a college education. But my philosophy is every job is important, and you can make that job anything you want to make that job. So I go in and I give it the same zeal that I gave my teaching position. Just because it's working as a sales associate does not mean it is not important. And I am a sales associate, and I do work in the stock room, and as I have mentioned, I also work in the cash office. Now, I'm really only the person who fills in when the person who was actually hired to do the cash office is not there. She wasn't there this morning. So I pop in, and she has already filled out the deposit form for me, as if I haven't already done that many, many times, and written a note about being sure you post date it, because you don't put today's date on the deposit slip, you put yesterday's date on the deposit slip, which I thought I was doing. She didn't necessarily write the note just to me. I mean, it did not have my name, Ron, on it. I don't know if she was referring just to me or if she was wondering if the manager is not really the manager of the stockroom. He is on vacation. I wonder if she was writing it to her, because she's never done this before. Be sure to post date it, that kind of thing. I took it as an insult. She had the bag. We have to put the money in a bag, a deposit bag, and we have to fill out a deposit form. There's only like 27 different steps you have to follow in this cash office. And I, being the proud person that I am, I threw all of her stuff in the trash and I wrote up new ones because I think I've been doing it the way it's supposed to be done. Nevertheless, all worked out well in the cash office. At one point, well, whenever there is a cash order, not to get too technical, you have to be sure to include that as a part of the count to the safe. Well, it was just squirreled away in there, and I didn't even think about the cash order at first, and then I did include that cash order because that makes a big difference in a safe that's supposed to be $2,500 if $400 is missing. And at one point, the change drawer was empty. I'm not sure what happened, and I took money that I had accumulated from one of the tills, put it in the cash drawer, and then at the end, when I was verifying the deposit, it was about $400 short, which helped me realize, oops, I had made a mistake. But I'm proud of myself because I worked backwards and figured out what it is that I had done. I don't know, maybe it's years and years of experience, maybe it's in the generation in which I was raised, not sure what it is, but it seems like there's a different level of work ethic between someone who's 64, almost 65, and someone who is 26. And I'm not a manager at Ross Dress for Less. I make, I guess, well, I don't even know what minimum wage is, but I make $14 per hour. But especially when my main manager is gone, everyone comes to me with questions and asks me what certain situations should be and so forth. So I kind of feel like I'm a manager without all of the aggravations of being a manager. And but I mean, overall, I like being able to get out and go to work. And I really, truly savor coming home each day. And I love shopping through Hy-Vee during the day, during the afternoon. People during the day are usually older people, and it just seems like they are more respectful. Seems like they're just more cordial. I don't know. At first, when I first left teaching and I went shopping at Hy-Vee or Walmart or whatever during the day, during the week, I felt so guilty being out when I was supposed to be back in my classroom with my students. It was hard at first to get used to not being in my classroom or not being at work, because I felt guilty. I mean, it's kind of like if ever I had a sick day, which was the last time was November 3rd, 2010. But when I would have a sick day, maybe get out and get medicine or whatever, I was kind of skulking around. I was afraid I would see the superintendent or by chance see one of my students, because I felt guilty for being out and about. Nevertheless, such is life, and this will continue to be my life, and I will continue to share with you real moments. I've done a lot of video series, many of them fictional, like The Dark Side of Rob McCool, and this current series, Rob McCool's Madcap Mysteries, and that kind of thing. I thought it might be nice to do one where I just talk about what's really going on, and I'm going to continue with my vow to record one of these every single day. Good things, great things are coming, so please watch day after day.